Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Flossom right here, back with a brand new video. And today I'm gonna be asking the question: is sports anime all that great? Is it worth the hype? For about a year now, I have really found myself engulfed in anime, and I just can't get enough of it. Especially with this past winter season having brought us with so many amazing titles, such as new titles like Mushoku Tensei, Horimiya, SK Infinity, and so many more that I heavily enjoyed. When I first started getting into watching anime, there was a genre that I was always skeptical about, and I didn't think it would be as great as people said it would be. With anime sometimes being over the top, which I find enjoyment out of from time to time, I thought that the sports genre would be a little bit too exaggerated and too unrealistic. And sometimes it can be, but there's just something I find special about it. With anime sometimes reminding me of childhood dreams and where I wanted to be in life when I grew up. I found a lot of relatability to this genre, and watching it reminds me of the times I spent playing sports in my younger years. For the majority of my childhood, I practiced mixed martial arts, and for a while I wanted to try out other sports. When I had moved to my new high school, I was very interested in trying out for the junior varsity basketball team, and your boy was not the nicest hooper out there. I had little to no experience playing basketball, and practicing for tryouts felt intimidating. I remember those restless days when I would come home from school and would practice in my local basketball court before basketball tryouts. I was so anxious and was anticipating the day to try out for the team. I had little to no confidence in my basketball ability, and just stepping out on the court was nerve-wracking. However, after working hard to get better, I was able to get on the basketball team, and man, was I excited for a new chapter in my life. That was until I blew my first open layup in the game, and I was almost embarrassed for the whole school year. The morning after the game was dreadful. I was the laughing stock of the classroom, and I felt so nervous and hesitant to step back out on the court. However, from getting support from my friends and family, I was able to continue improving myself. Throughout the remainder of the season, I wasn't getting a lot of playtime, with most games getting no playtime. For all of my athletes out there, some of you probably know what it's like to not get a lot of playtime, and you just want to show your coach and team that you got what it takes to hold your own weight. My time on the team was a huge learning experience for me. I was able to learn how much it takes to be a high-class athlete and how hard you have to be willing to work to achieve a high level of success. For my team's last game, I was able to face up against a team that I blew a layup against. However, I didn't think that I would be stepping out on the court. With a few minutes left in the game, I was able to step out on the court for one last time. I would then go on to get my revenge and score my first and last basket of the season. This also ended up being my first and last basketball season in all of my high school years. When I moved to another school, I started to lose motivation to play basketball or any sport for that matter, and it led me to just focusing on my academics until I graduated from high school. Fast forward to last year, I was just getting into anime and I was looking for a new genre to get into. This is when I found Haikyuu. Little did I know that Haikyuu would go on to be one of my favorite animes to watch. Before I watched Haikyuu, I actually knew about it for quite some time, and I never thought that I would watch it. I mean, for a while I was telling myself, what do I look like watching a sports anime? I felt like it was going to be melodramatic and corny, but boy was I wrong. I was really wrong. And at times it could just be a little bit too dramatic. But when watching Haikyuu for the first time, it ignited those lost feelings and emotions I had for sports and what it was like to represent a sports team. Haikyuu really highlights the trials and tribulations of playing a sport, and seeing the main character Hinata jump high for the ball despite his height was really inspirational. It kept me at the edge of my seat. I mean, man, when I first watched this anime, I binge watched the whole thing and got caught up to the new season. Every moment I spent watching this anime filled me with excitement for a sport I didn't know too much about or never really watched. This is what sports anime can do to you. And if that didn't get you interested, let me tell you a little bit more about Haikyuu. In the story, you follow a young boy named Hinata who has a huge passion for volleyball and wants to be one of the greatest to ever play the sport. In the beginning of the story, Hinata plays with his volleyball club, and you can tell that his fellow club members aren't as passionate or even as good as Hinata is. Despite this, Hinata gives the game his all and puts the blame all on himself when the team gives up a point. The team he plays against is one of the best middle school teams that has one of the best players on the team named Kageyama. Ultimately, Hinata and his club lose terribly to this team and vows to one day get revenge on Kageyama. Fast forward through time and Hinata enters Karasuna High School. Little did he know the same guy he vowed to get get revenge on will not only be his teammate, but eventually his right-hand man on the court. This duo goes on to do great things in the story and great things for the team. This story was the start of me getting into sports anime. This anime is so hype, and if you haven't seen it already, you have to check it out. It won't disappoint. Every game played in Haikyuu had me at the edge of my seat. This sports anime is the embodiment of hype, and I was thrilled throughout the whole thing. It does such a great job getting you emotionally invested into the story, and while watching it, I found myself cheering for Karasuna High School as if they were a real volleyball team. With all that being said, let me introduce you guys to some sports anime titles that I would highly recommend for you to watch. Introducing Run with the Wind. In the story, you follow a young college student named Kakeru who has a passion for track. However, Kakeru stopped being a track athlete once he entered college. Little did he know he would meet a guy named Haiji who would reignite that passion for being a track athlete. Upon meeting Haiji invites Kakeru to his place to meet some other guys. As soon as he gets to his place, Haiji mentions the real reason why he got all of them together. All of the students except Haiji and Kakeru have little to no experience with track, and was quite surprised when Haiji mentions that he got all of them together to reach the track nationals and win. This surprised everyone, including Kakeru, who was meeting Haiji and his friends for the first time. All of them wanted to opt out, but Haiji was content on creating a team that would reach nationals. After Haiji aggressively tries to get everyone together, they finally try practicing for the first time, and they were terrible at first. However, they would go on to bond with one another and develop a love and passion for track. This is the beginning of a long and rewarding journey for the team, and one that brings the audience right along with them. When watching this anime for the first time, it motivated me to go on morning jogs more often and improve my physical health. Just like Haikyuu, it does a great job getting you emotionally invested into the story. It may not be as hype as Haikyuu or any of the other sports anime that I will mention in this video, but it is an excellent story that you have to follow. One thing I love about this anime is how it highlights self-improvement. In my day-to-day life, I always strive to be a better person than who I was the day before. In fact, that has been one of the driving forces with my YouTube channel. It's knowing that I can do even better after every new video that excites me in this journey. In your life, you should always keep in mind that negative situations are temporary, and there are always chances that life gives you to improve your life. You may not be able to change some things in your life, but you should focus on the things that you can change in your life. This is another thing that I feel like this anime highlights so well. Along this journey with the characters, it shows you the struggles and obstacles the characters face within themselves, and how they have used track as a healthy coping mechanism to improve their lives. For an example, one has a smoking addiction, one is addicted to reading manga, and one is recovering from a leg injury. It is very interesting to see the characters with these flaws and how they have found ways to improve themselves by practicing track. This is a journey that will not disappoint, and I highly recommend for you to watch it. The next sports anime I'm going to talk about is called Ace of the Diamond. In the beginning of the story, you follow a young boy named Sawamaru who has a passion for playing baseball. Much like the situation Hinata was in at the beginning of Haikyuu, Sawamaru's teammates aren't as passionate or even as good as Sawamaru is at baseball. However, this doesn't stop him from giving the game his all and blaming himself for every point his team loses. From this information, you can tell that he and his team lost. However, little did he know he had a high school baseball scout for one of the most notable teams in Japan, called Seto High School. He would then be informed by the scout of an opportunity he had to go to this high school, but sadly, he would have to leave his friends back at home. This was a difficult decision for him to make, but one that would change his life. However, before making the decision, he decided to visit the school for the first time, and he was amazed at what he saw. He was clearly able to see that this is the right decision for him to make. This is the beginning of a diamond in the rough, transforming into a baseball superstar. Well, if only it were that easy. Every day at practice, Sawamaru goes through lots of training and sleepless nights, but every day he sees himself improving. Just like the other sports anime that I mentioned, self-improvement plays a very prominent role in this anime. I thought it was really interesting to see Soromaru improving at baseball, despite me being someone who never watches baseball. Before watching this sports anime, I was very skeptical of how good it was going to be because I'm just not that into baseball, so I didn't know what to expect. I mean, bro, I have never watched a baseball game a day in my life. I mean, I've gone to a baseball game before, but I've never watched a baseball game on TV, and I've never been that interested in baseball. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I know little to nothing about baseball. However, this sports anime got me even more interested into it and gave me a little bit more information about the sport. So me recommending this sports anime says a lot. I mean, I don't watch baseball, and I mean, like, I never do. But this sports anime got me so into it, and that's what sports anime does for me. When I find a good one to watch, it really gets me into a sport that I've never played or never watched. It's very inspiring to see the main character improve in baseball and seeing him learn from his mistakes and how he can become a better baseball player. There are a lot of hardships, losses, and defeats faced in this anime, with some baseball games keeping me at the edge of my seat. I mean, almost each baseball game is filled with high intensity, with me sometimes feeling like I'm a person in the bleachers at that actual baseball game. Once you get into this anime, you will be hooked for a long time, and its many episodes help you out with this. This is probably one of the longest sports anime out there, with there still being another season to come out, and the manga is still ongoing. So if you have a lot of time on your hands and you're looking for a long-running series to binge, I suggest you invest your time into this anime. It won't disappoint. Last but not least, as I mentioned earlier about all of the great anime that we got this past winter season, there was one sports anime that I heavily enjoyed from beginning to end. This anime is SK Infinity. This anime deals with skateboarding, and while watching it, it brought back so many memories from when I was a child skateboarding. When I was younger, not only did I love to skateboard, but I also enjoyed playing skateboarding video games. I honestly forgot which skateboarding games I used to play, but skateboarding was always cool to me, and it was always cool to see skate tricks being done on the internet. In the story, you follow a young boy named Reki who has a huge passion for skateboarding. After school, he likes to go to a skateboarding hangout where he challenges other individuals to a race. One day at school, Reki meets a foreign exchange student from Canada named Langa. Reki and Langa, upon meeting each other for the first time, become very close friends that would go into skateboard with one another. However, in the beginning, Langa doesn't know how to skateboard and has only gotten experience with snowboarding, but having that past experience allows him to blossom into a great skateboarder. This was also from the help of Reki, who gave him some pointers to get better at skateboarding. As you watch this anime, it really highlights the coolness of skateboarding and how fun it can really be. I had so much enjoyment from watching this anime, and it was arguably one of my favorite anime from this past winter season. Each moment watching the characters skate is almost breathtaking, with each match being filled with hype and full of unique skate tricks. There are so many things about this anime that exceeded my expectations, and the tricks performed in this anime are crazy, with some tricks being realistic and some being done in unimaginable ways that keep you at the edge of your seat. This anime also captures emotions like self-doubt, self-improvement, and having a passion for something that you enjoy doing. I highly recommend you watch this anime if you haven't already. It won't disappoint. Well, that has been it for today's video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so that you get notified every time I post a new video. Also, comment any sports anime that you would like for me to watch, and I may talk about it in a future video. As always, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and peace.